Practical Engineering Solutions is a multi-state licensed engineering firm. Pre-pandemic, we were probably near 100% oil and gas, but pandemic hits, economy kind of crashes a bit, right? We really were in a adapt or die scenario. And I'm proud to say today we're probably 50% oil and gas and 50% other opportunities. Today, PES operates in the direct lithium extraction business. We've done a lot in the marine, offshore, vessel structure type engineering. We've done a little bit of carbon capture, and then we've worked in salt mines in and around Louisiana. We really have diversified in a ton of different fields that are we're reaping the benefits from. And we are not staffed with engineers who are experts in any of the fields that I just mentioned. Being a one-trick pony doesn't fare well in our system. We want our engineers and designers to be able to work on a multitude of projects because most of the time something that's coming through the door today will not be the same as something that comes through the door tomorrow. So everybody has these same conversations with clients. One of the first questions is, when do you need it by? Probably 95% of the time, they're gonna say, I needed it last week. The time it takes to get the raw materials to build something has elongated so much that when they come to us, this stuff started 2 weeks ago. So we're gonna give you the shortest delivery we can. So SolidWorks was the main platform with the company I interned with and started my first job with coming out of school. The main simulation tool that we used on all of our designs came out of the simulation suite on the desktop with SolidWorks. It's a really great tool. It has some really good features that really kind of get you introduced into the simulation world. Perfect timing kind of lined up with our reseller. We had to renew our subscriptions. He came back to us and said, hey, we have this software called Simulia. They told us what it could do. That's what started us on this journey. And it was a program built by Jaco to integrate with SolidWorks. And so there wasn't any third-party nonsense going on. It reduces your time to get up to speed in it because they thought about these things as they developed the software. And so you could say, I need 6 check marks. Pull this open, I need a mesh. Okay, I got a mesh, I got my materials, check mark. I can send that product back to the modeling space, or I can translate and communicate any changes I want to see based on the results in Simulia. I don't have to start over again. And that's a very powerful thing. As a small engineering firm, we need to be lean. We don't have the real estate to go and buy a new server to run these heavier FEAs. By adopting the cloud capabilities of the platform, we can operate like one of these bigger companies with the cloud because we have the horsepower to be able to do so. And if we come to the point where we're solving a problem that the out-the-box solution, the 8 cores, can't get, we can make a phone call, get a quote, and be able to increase the amount of cores that we can solve on. So our return on our investment, we've taken on more complex engineering projects just with the abilities of the platform compared to what we had before. We haven't gotten a problem that we couldn't solve in the platform.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Mary, your moderator for today's session. It's a real privilege to connect with such a diverse community of professionals as we dive into a lineup of presentations and conversations designed to inform and connect us all. Now, I don't know who needs to hear this, but getting your design clearly understood and equally understanding the vision of your design team before execution. This makes every project run more smoothly. This is the focal point for this workshop titled A Unified Vision for the Future of Design and Manufacturing. Imagine a space where teams can ideate, design, simulate, analyze, and produce highly realistic solutions all in real time. We are here to empower professionals with the tool sets which will enable us to connect creativity with precision with the aim to drive project life cycle reduction. At the heart of this vision stands Generative CAD Services Limited, GCAD. We have redefined product development by giving African businesses and professionals access to advanced design and digital manufacturing technologies. At this point, let us recognize Dassault Systems, the global pioneer shaping the very future of design and manufacturing. Working alongside me, I have Chukwuemeka, my co-moderator. Chukwuemeka, let's have you.
Hello, everyone. It's great to have you here with us today for what promises to be an insightful and rewarding workshop. I'm Chukwuemeka, and I'll be working with Mary as your co-moderator throughout today's workshop. My role is to keep things interactive, stay connected with you in the chat, and make sure your questions reach our speakers at the right time. Now, we want this experience to be as engaging and valuable as possible. So, before we dive in, let me quickly walk you through a few housekeeping notes, how you, our audience, can participate and make the most of today's workshop. To start off with, please use the Q&A section to ask your questions during the workshop. This will help us keep track of them and also respond effectively. The workshop will start and conclude promptly as scheduled, as you can see, so kindly stay connected throughout the whole session. We also encourage you to clearly articulate your industry's most pressing design or data management challenges. This will help us provide targeted solution demonstrations for after the workshop. Now, during the workshop, we have some live polls. So we implore you to please participate in these live polls. Your immediate insights are valuable and will help shape the discussion going forward. Lastly, use the chat box to engage with our speakers and moderators. Feel free to share comments or interact with each other during the session. Wonderful. Okay, so now let's start off with a little quick exercise. Right? This is going to help us understand what matters most to your organization for the coming year. On your screen now, you'll find a brief set of questions designed to capture your company's or your organization's priorities for the year ahead. Please select all the options that best reflect your business and technical objectives. Your insights will help us understand what matters most to you and explore a strategic enabler for achieving those goals. You can choose more than one option if they apply. And once you've made your selection, just submit your response. We'll share the results in real time. Okay, so from the results, we can see that shortening design revision cycles and boosting cross-team collaboration is at the forefront of our minds for many people here in the chat. We'll keep these priorities in focus as we move forward and show you how SolidWorks can help achieve these goals. Now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming a leader who has been instrumental in shaping our vision for engineering excellence, the CEO of Generative CAD Services Limited, Mr. Felix Amaefule, for his opening remarks. Mr. Felix, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chukwuemeka. Hello, everyone, distinguished guests, partners, and industry leaders. On behalf of Generative CAD Services Limited, I'm honored to welcome you to this 3D Experience SolidWorks Executive Workshop. Today, we gather not just for a section of a conversation that could define how we design, innovate, and manufacture across Africa, particularly in West Africa. Our industries are at a critical inflection point. The global race beyond Industry 4.0 and towards Industry 5.0 is accelerating. And the question before us today is simple. How do we ensure that African businesses are not just participants, but also leaders in this transformation? The answer lies in integration and collaboration. Imagine a world where your entire product development lifecycle, from concept, design, simulation, data management, collaboration, and even manufacturing, all lives in one single unified platform. No silos, no fragmented tools, just one connected ecosystem that empowers speed, precision, and innovation. This workshop is designed for decision makers like you, because the challenges you face are real. From disconnected systems that are slowing innovation, to version control chaos and costly rework, to limited visibility into project status, to power and connectivity constraints to our region, unique to our region. These pain points cost time, money, and market opportunities, but they are solvable. Today, we will show you how 3D Experience SolidWorks addresses these challenges heads-on, delivering measurable impacts, from reducing time to market by up to 25 to 40%, to cutting design errors by 40%, to slashing prototype costs by 70%, to even boosting collaboration speed from 60 to 80%. At Generative CAD, we are proud to be that trusted transformation partner for Dassault systems in West Africa. From our base in Lagos, we are enabling companies to adopt world-class digital engineering tools that accelerate innovation and unlock competitive advantage. This is more than technology. It's about building a sustainable innovation ecosystem for Africa. Through collaboration, capacity building, and creativity, we aim to empower businesses to thrive in the era of digital manufacturing. As you engage with our speakers and explore the capabilities of 3D Experience SolidWorks today, I encourage you to think beyond challenges of today, but think about what your organization could achieve if design, simulation, manufacturing worked in harmony. The company that acts now will lead tomorrow. Those who delay risk falling behind in a market that rewards speed, agility, and innovation. Thank you once again for being here and for committing your time to this conversation. Together, let's unlock a unified vision for the future of design and digital manufacturing in Africa, particularly in West Africa. It is now my pleasure to hand over to our moderator to continue with the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Felix. Thank you so much for this insightful address. Moving on quickly, I would like to invite our Dassault Systems partner representative for his remarks. He is the Dassault Systems Enterprise Software as a Service Sales and Business Development Manager for Africa and Euro-West. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Azamat KARDANOV.
And welcome. Please, before I start to share, before I start the presentation, I want to check if everyone can see my screen, my presentation. Is it working fine?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
And we can see the presentation.
Okay, very good. So thanks again for joining. It's a very special presentation for us, a very special year, because this year we are celebrating anniversary, 30 years of SolidWorks. And You can find a lot of content dedicated to this anniversary on our social networks, and you will see more till end of the year. So, history of SolidWorks started in 1995 with SolidWorks 95, and since that first version, we are going all the way till today, till 2025, and you see that in every version, we was trying to add what our users need at that time, and that was the key how SolidWorks became the most popular 3D CAD worldwide for mechanical engineering. Please, you can share in chat what version was your first one, when you start to use SolidWorks, when you try maybe in universities, and your impressions from it. So you see that during the years we add a lot of features, and also there was new solutions launched as PDM system, as simulation capabilities, and of course 3D Experience platform, our tool which is uniting all the solutions of the Dassault system. And now at end of 2025, we launched and presented the latest version, SolidWorks 2026. So SolidWorks is a leader of CAD market by all independent analysis. They estimate share of SolidWorks as 44% in new commercial CAD seats worldwide. It's over $1 billion of euro of annual revenue, millions of users, hundreds of thousands of commercial customers, and of course, what is very important is hundreds of our partners worldwide, including Africa, including Nigeria. So partners as Generative CAD who are in place in country to help you to implement our solutions and to get the best service for SolidWorks. When we're looking to industries where our customers are using SolidWorks, it's very wide number of industries. Of course, industrial equipment is the biggest one, but still there are medical devices created with SolidWorks, high-tech industry, construction, infrastructure, energy and materials, which is probably the biggest industry in case of Nigeria, and also home and lifestyle, so things like furniture and windows, doors, all the stuff what you need to manufacture for the building a house. History of the Dassault system as developer of software in general and current developer and owner of SolidWorks started in 1981, so much earlier than SolidWorks. It started from first 3D design tools for mechanical engineering, and because the way how the system was launched, because it's part of the Dassault group, and the first company of the group was Dassault Aviation, which is building airplanes. So we started by creating CAD tool to create better airplanes for ourselves. And then the next step was first 3D digital mockup of Boeing 777 in 1989. So many years ago, already we had the first digital mockup of airplane. And then 3D PLM, acquisition of SolidWorks and development of SolidWorks, as I said. Launch of 3D Experience platform in 2012. A virtual twin of humans itself since 2020, and we have many projects linked to that as a digital heart, for example. You can find a lot of information about that. And in 2025, we moved to Gen 7, to our next stage, when to all our ecosystem with virtual twins, with PLM, with SolidWorks, we also AI, and now with new strategy of Gen 7, we're going to use 3D universes for a more sustainable world. So, as you see from this information, our pillars to work better for you is power of our SolidWorks brand as the most popular 3D CAD tool, the power of innovation that we are developing for years and continuing to develop, and the power of our ecosystem, our customers, our partners, and our team itself, of course. So please ask your questions in the chat, share your opinion, and I'm giving floor back to Mary.
Thank you, Azamat. Thank you so much for that wonderful intro. So we're just going to move on to our first presenter now. But before we do that, we'll have another short poll for you guys. So for this one, we'd like to know which business and engineering benefits resonate most with you and where you see the greatest opportunities for growth within your organizations. Now, there's going to be a short poll that's going to come up in a few seconds. Okay, so it's up now. The poll is also available in the chat, so please, for everyone, please interact with the poll. We'd like to know. Remember, like I said in the beginning, your immediate insights are very valuable for this session. Can I just ask if everyone can see the chat? Sorry, can I just ask if everyone can see the poll? Okay, thank you. So we're just going to wait for a few more responses before moving on. If the poll isn't visible on your screen, you can check the chat. It should be available in the chat. Okay, well, Thank you for your responses. It gives us a great snapshot of what matters most to you guys, so teams here in West Africa. Just a quick reminder, if you have any questions during the session, please post them in the Q&A section here in Teams, and then we'll make sure that they reach our speakers. Now, with that done, I'm going to hand it back to Mary to introduce our first speaker for the day. Mary?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chukwuemeka. Thank you for running the poll section. Thank you, everyone, for responding. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce our first speaker for today's workshop. He is the Mechanical Design Lead and Head of Technical Support Team for Dassault System Solutions at Generative CAD Services Limited. Please welcome Mr. Ofonime William.
Thank you so much, Mary, and for that wonderful introductions. And I want to believe that everyone can hear me. I could just maybe indicate. Okay. All right. So I also want to believe that we can all, get to see my screen. Okay. All right. So over many decades, Data Systems has expanded its portfolio by acquiring many brands, including the SolidWorks, which is the core reason why we are here today. So a central hub that connects all these brands is what we call the 3D Experience platform. So welcome everyone. I'll be speaking about a unified platform for the future of design and manufacturing in West Africa. And so if you're just joining in, once again, my name is Ofonime William. So one common and rapidly growing concern in the product development circle or the design and manufacturing industry, both now and in the future, is a need to produce higher quality products faster at a lower cost, while integrating a streamlined and what we call synchronized workflow. So if there is a solution that provides all these tools to solve the problems in a single and smart environment, then that will is worth discussing. The solution is worth discussing. So especially when it eliminates all the time and resource wasters due to maybe data translation between departments, which of course is prone to errors and intelligence gap. So listen about these solutions by exploring the 3D Experience Works domain. We can liken these domains to territories or maybe industry sectors that the 3D Experience SolidWorks serve. All right, so I'll be starting with the governance domain, highlighting the disciplines, a few roles and applications, which have been crafted purely to help organizations like yours manage the end-to-end product development, from the early planning through the development and final release. For instance, plan is a discipline or what we call a subdomain in the governance, which provides access to roles and applications that ensure we do the right thing at the right time. Design and release is another subdomain, which allows us to edit large multi-CAD data, multidisciplinary products and structures, complete engineering product definitions directly on our web browser without a need for CAD tools at all. Other disciplines include collaboration, sourcing, and standardization, which you can see on the bottom of my screen, with roles such as the 3D swimmer, which is also known as the Collaborative Business Innovator, which is a CBI, and then the CII, right? Collaborative industry innovator, and so much more. So now let's have a feel of what this experience looks like if you get to adopt these solutions. So for instance, the project management team, via the project planner, gets to leverage the Enovia. So Enovia is one of Dassault Systems, brand products, right? So, the project management team gets to leverage this solution for their end-to-end, management of people, data, and even processes. Now, for emphasis, the project planner, which I just mentioned, is an application that belongs to the discipline called plan, which I earlier mentioned. And plan, of course, is a subdomain of the 3D experience governance domain. Social business analyst, which is also under the plan, as well provides organizations like yours with business intelligence. Of course, you want to ask me, how's that done? So, well, the social business analyst enables you to aggregate content from across web alongside your internal data and business metrics. Compare and analyze your business data in the context of the web in order to measure impact. So decision makers like yourself can get to answer critical questions about brand and the markets using real-time data insights. So I'm just going to pause for a few seconds to allow us to glance through this solution. And of course, looking at that, we get to see that probably this particular decision maker is, trying to make some decisions, critical decisions around 3D printing technology, which is, of course, very interesting technology. Okay. So moving on, next is the collaborative designer for SolidWorks, which connects SolidWorks to 3D experience platform, enabling enterprise-wide sharing of design data through a very fast and secured web technology managed by Dassault Systems itself. I'm sure the SolidWorks users in the house, both the veterans and maybe early adopters as well, the new users would probably recognize the interface by my left. Interestingly, I had engaged, and I'm currently engaging the 3D swimmer role, the CBI, as I'm speaking. So for instance, the 3D swimmer solution, also known as the CBI, came in handy for the preparation and execution of this workshop. So from the 3D story application that you can see on the bottom right of my screen, which was used in creating the presentation I'm using now. So use cases like ensuring that our teams stay connected, and we are able to have collaboration among all the stakeholders involved, pulling in both CAD and non-CAD data whenever, wherever, in a secure design and non-design community, which is hosted on our 3D experience platform. So I'm talking about an internal community now, right? Hosted in our 3D experience platform. So in a nutshell, this is how the solutions from the governance domain can help your organization. So from improving productivity with more efficient ways to find, examine, and reuse intellectual property, significantly reducing design time, to reducing complexity, improving business agility by making the 3D experience platform your one-stop shop for managing CAD and non-CAD data, validating products virtually, reducing cost of physical prototypes, and improving time to market. Keeping your CAD data, the CAD system, protecting your investments while leveraging the power of 3D experience platform, right? So you get to keep your CAD system. At the same time, you also leverage a very powerful technology. And lastly, collaborating more effectively, helping to foster innovation that results in better products and higher sales. So next on my list is the design and engineering domain. A domain concerned with how organizations like yours, get to transform innovative ideas into great products with a complete, product development solutions on the 3D Experience platform. So, for instance, mechanical is a subdomain with, over 18 roles, allowing mechanical engineers and designers equipped with, these 3D Experience work roles to create, accelerate the design processes of mechanical products with powerful solutions from a wide range of industries. The mechanical subdomain or discipline can span as far as the eco design engineer role, which you can see if you look at towards the right of my screen, right, which enables one to enrich a virtual twin with the knowledge about environmental impacts of material processes and the activities, right, to perform a complete life cycle assessment and then select or elect the best alternatives. Right. So for the mechanical subdomain, which I just mentioned, a practical application could range from what you can see on the left of my screen. So you're currently looking at the 3D Experience SolidWorks solutions, which allows engineers and designers to design better products faster and more effectively with easier to use SolidWorks 3D CAD, right? So I'm very sure a couple of us would recognize this interface. And then on the right part of my screen, we get to see where another role was employed, and then of course the roles also gives you access to certain applications. We have the 3D sheet metal creator, which is a browser-based sheet metal design solution, which is used to create sheet metal designs, collaborate, and then build your assemblies and enclosures. So top right of my screen, and then to the bottom of my screen, we have a subdomain, being represented, which is called the Equipment Systems subdomain. It's still part of design and engineering domain, right? So the 3D Experience SolidWorks Electrical 3D is employed by electrical systems design teams to synchronize electrical schematics to 3D design, improving their overall quality and consistency. While on the other hand, the fluid systems design team are challenged with developing, documenting rigid and flexible piping, tubing, and ducting from basic routing definitions to detailed designs. Right? So we have, what I'm saying is we have a subdomain, right, with a set of roles that takes care of this nature of challenges. And then we also have on my screen the 3D sculptor role, which is coming from a domain called, a subdomain rather, called shape and style. So this application, which is called the X-Shape, right, is a browser-based subdivisions for some of us who are conversant with these technologies, right? Solution that you can use to create aesthetic designs, stylize, and then be able to share and collaborate with anyone, anywhere, from any design, from any location. Sorry, right? So I'm very sure we can appreciate what you can see on my screen. And so to summarize, just like the governance, design and engineering domain, has things, it contributes to your organization. So more like the benefits, right? Organizational benefits, business benefits. So from being able to rapidly design and complete your products using robust parametric subdivisions and direct editing tools, down to managing your design the way you think with agile and intuitive approaches, right? And also giving you access to management tools. And the interesting part is all of this is happening in a single modeling environment. So quickly I move on to the next domain, which is the manufacturing and production domain, right? So this is one very interesting domain because great products start with great designs, but even the most intuitive ideas will fail if they can't be manufactured efficiently, right? So they're just going to probably sit there somewhere, in the space, right? So as manufacturing becomes more fast-paced, the ability to reuse the original data from engineering is more important than ever, rather, And then the SolidWorks CAM uses native engineering data to streamline workflows between engineering and manufacturing. So one sub-domain with lots of roles, right, to optimize machining and additive manufacturing processes, maybe leveraging the Delmia solution, is called the fabrication domain, right? So we also have other domains like factory. If you look at the bottom of my screen, factory automation, collaborative operation, process engineering, which also, of course, have so these subdomains have roles under them. For instance, you have like the robot programmer, which of course is a role, under the factory automation discipline or subdomain. So if you take look, towards the left of my screen, we are looking at the manufacturing process engineering, role in action, right? So this helps the, to auto analyze and manage manufacturing processes more efficiently, and then communicates this to the other members of the organization, right? Another role called the NC shop floor programmer. So if you look towards the right of my screen, provides a full set of features for workpiece setup, cutter tools, assembly, two-part simulation, that include material removal, machining tools, simulation of the simulation, and then the NC code generation. So these are all like an overview of what these solutions look like inside. So briefly, just like other domains, we get to see the benefits of adopting solutions from this domain, right? So what do they do to your organization, business-wise, organizational-wise, and all of that? So we have like enabling the design and the manufacturing teams to work concurrently, down to benefits like reducing errors that can occur when designs are passed from one phase to the other, right? So you're talking about change orders now, right? So how do you cut down on some of that? We know how painstaking that could be, and how the amount of money that can also be lost when things like this take place. So last but not the least is the marketing and sales domain. So this is where attention meets action. So fueled by the growing number of social media platforms, channels, partner networks, the demand for creating compelling content and products also grew. So the 3D experience works. Marketing and sales solutions help you to deliver unique content by connecting those content to the product development itself. So we have you see why I indicated there a single source of truth. And of course marketing and sales domain is it has a powerful role, which we call the marketing content creation discipline or subdomain. So you could see where I listed the product communicator and the 3D demonstrator as roles under this subdomain. So speaking about the 3D demonstrator, and we can create simple experiences without any need for coding, scripting, or maybe having experience in complex XR and all of that, right? You get to communicate product features and values by leveraging the product data, right? You get to create animations, simulations across multiple channels from one reference. And then a fully integrated workflow, if you were to get this done like the proper way, can span as far as creating a virtual twin to immersive and to creating a immersive and a commercial customer experiences. So when you get to look at what I have on my screen, you can of course see what's going on there. So lastly, talking about, of course, benefits of getting or using or adopting solutions from this domain. So you see things like being able to create engaging and high quality products, realistic content in the cloud, anytime, anywhere, down to ability to take advantage of unmatched experience for planning and delivering your go-to-market content from addition to commercialization. So we are looking at a case where we can even have a product that is not yet even done or not ready for the market, but then we can get to test it in the market, right? As though the product is there, and then you also get feedbacks real time from the people who we are reaching out to. So now to the fun part. I hope I didn't bore us, right? So to the fun part, we want to look at practical case studies on how the 3D experience works has helped businesses, right? We're talking about helping businesses, so probably this should have already been in place, right? So I'm going to be starting with the industrial equipment industry, and I would like you to listen to Manuel. Manuel is a structural analyst with from Resmin. As he narrates his experience while he adopted the 3D experience solution.
Resmin is a company that manufactures heavy machinery for underground mining. We start to make machinery as about 2008. Then with the request of our customers, we start to make more kind of machines for several uses in the mine. We need to ensure that the operator will be safe in the cabin of our machines. And not only in the cabin. And about production, we need to ensure that the equipment can make the holes as big as the company needs. Challenges: first, try to design the models as fast as we can. With this, we need to make our analysis about the resistance of the structures in less time with more accuracy. We start to use SolidWorks simulation at 2012 because the customers ask us for some certifications and start to use SolidWorks simulation to make this kind of studies. Last year I was making this same test in SolidWorks Simulation Premium, and it takes about 6 hours to us. But 6 hours is too long time for our actual process. And we start to use 3D Experience Work Simulation in order to reduce these times and increment the accuracy of the test. So right now it only takes us about 2 hours, and we have an accuracy for about 92–93%. With the cloud solutions, we start to communicate our results of the simulations to our manager in a better way and in less time. With this, he can make some comments, and he don't need to be at the office to see the results and communicate us the changes that we need to do. So it's about acceleration of the process. The results was our clients are more satisfied with our machines. I think with the platform will help us to reach our goals, because it's giving us more velocity to get results and give to our production teams the correct information in less time.
Okay, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that. 92 to 93% accuracy. I mean, we know what that means. If you were to translate that to, saving resources, saving time, having your clients happy, and also ensuring that people stay safe and we don't have things going bad and all of that, right? So in a nutshell, we see a 10% reduction in time to market, double the product development cycle, and a significant drop in the time for complex analysis, right? Okay, so now moving on to my next case study, Range Aero. So of course, this features the aerospace and defense industry, right? So we are faced with the challenge of developing an autonomous flight helicopter with what we call an unmanned coaxial rotor powered aircraft for commercial and military transport requirements or needs, right? So they wanted to do this quickly and cost effectively and then be able to also accelerate the time to market. So upon adopting the 3D experience solutions, Range Aero leverage advanced simulation tools to analyze complex physical behaviors, thereby eliminating the time-consuming and costly design prototyping iterations, right? Which is something that is very common within this particular industry, right? Expensive prototyping and all of that, right? So the outcome of this bold decision by Range Aero can be summarized as follows. We see a shortened development time by 40%, decreased development cost by 30%, cutting even the prototyping cost itself by 40%, and also see a reduction of the what we call the star skid landing gear by 18%. And last but not the least is our next case study from the AEC industry, AEC, the architectural engineering and construction industry, which is of course we can't get to neglect that. So we see Go Robotics, which also were faced with the challenge of being able to accelerate the development of their autonomous construction robot. So you're looking at robots there, right, for use in delivering construction materials and completing construction tasks. Once again, went ahead to adopt the 3D experience solutions. So in Lee's word, Lee was or is rather the CEO of this organization. Accelerated development, so I'm quoting him now, accelerated development was crucial to the startup's success, right? So if something had gone wrong at this point, then it means we probably would not be talking about, or wouldn't even be using them as our case study today. So when they adopted the 3D experience solution for facilitating design collaboration among the hardware, software, and the electrical engineering teams, they had an unusual outcome, right? So imagine being able to design this kind of autonomous construction robots in less than 3 months, right? Just 2.5 months. And of course, we also get to see the outcome of this move they also did. So they had a weight reduction, right, of the entire robot itself. And then they also had a cut down on their development cost, right? And so now we'll be moving on to our next phase of the presentation, right? So remember I said I was speaking on a unified platform for design and manufacturing in West Africa. And our major concern, of course, is Ghana and Nigeria. So since our main focus are these 2 countries, I'd like to paint a picture which reflects some of our realities, right? And then move on to emphasize the possible next line of action. So I'll start by acknowledging the problem, landscape within our industries. So we get to see cases like fragmented collaboration across teams, limited access to advanced manufacturing, high cost of prototyping and testing, skill gaps in the modern engineering tools, and then poor infrastructure for data and IP management. These are real problems that we face, right? Now, briefly imagine the following categories of decision makers. Of course, with our African context in mind. So on my left, I have innovative MK. Is someone who plays by the rule, acquiring the 3D experience solution, and then this was a decision that was driven by a quest to extract all possible values from the solution for his complex, multi-dimensional, innovation-driven project. And there was also a need to smile to the bank upon the project's completion. Next is who I call the confused MK, right? Or confused CY, sorry. Someone who also plays by the rule. But she's likely to discontinue using the 3D experience solution due to a perceived lack of value, right? So basically saying that the confused CY feels that the 3D experience solution does not really help her achieve the business goals. So she's like, so why should I keep on using this solution? And then finally, we have what we call the crafty UI, right? Someone who is, currently struggling with license compliance. And is, convinced that it is profitable to undertake this business risk. This is Nigeria, this is Ghana, you might say. Okay, now, so currently this is what's going on with our first, persona, right? So these are all decision makers, right? So he uses 3D experience solutions to streamline his complex multi-dimensional project. He leverages data-driven insights to make informed decisions. Remember when we talked about the structural business analyst? And then access to continuous training and upskilling opportunities for his team. Don't forget, he plays by the rules, pays for what he has to pay for, goes for the kind of training he has to go for, and comes for even workshops like this, right? Okay, and finally, maybe, of course, access to numerous categories of support from partners, that's solution partners like ourselves here at Generative CAD, or even, we can also accelerate that support, to Dazzle systems via a chain of command, of course. So basically, for his business goals, so we are looking at, improved project efficiency, increased rate of return, return on investment, sorry, and then timely, project completion. For his key performance indicators, reduce project timelines, higher project success rates, and increase profitability. Right? This is how it feels like for innovative MK. Now we're looking at confused CY. Look at the actions she probably requires because she's already in a state of confusion, and then we need to get her out of this state. So CY is supposed to, of course, call in for support and consultation from solutions partners like ourselves, probably to also help identify the business goals that 3D experience can address for her. All right, and then we also see cases where she would have to, also get acquainted with success stories to understand the impacts of most of these solutions we are talking about. Something similar to, what we are currently looking at. Okay, so chances are that Mary's team is, probably, yeah, they adopted the 3D experience solutions, no doubt, but they're probably still using this solution the old way with the, wrong old methods and workflows, right? Which clearly could explain why it is difficult for her to see, the value that this, cutting edge tool provides for her sub-team and even the organization at large. I mean, if we use a coffee mug as though it's a wine glass, you might struggle to see any reason for buying a wine glass, right? So this is probably CY's case. So if CY is able to reach out and then she's provided the right solution for the right issues and challenges that the organization is facing, definitely would be able to achieve her business goals and of course our KPIs. So we'll be looking at achieving clear visibility into solutions benefits, and then aligning with business objectives. So for the key performance indicators, we're also looking at an increased adoption rate. So at the end of the day, that's after the experts have come into the table, and then we're having this discussion about how to carefully map and tailor the right solutions for our confused CY. She no longer becomes confused CY because now she knows exactly the type of tool that solve the exact problem she has, and she would be able to also see the adoption rate probably within the sub teams using these solutions to solve these problems. And then we no longer be in the case where we are talking about, should we still continue using the solutions or not, right? So that case is the problem is already solved, right? And then of course you also will be able to measure business impacts and the satisfaction, right? We have this team using the solution for this. What has it done? What happens to the level of productivity, efficiency, staying profitable, and all of that? Okay, so this is more or less the action points for confused CY, because we actually might have people who are within this category, decision makers, remember. And then finally, for the crafty UI, so he's currently undergoing a couple of risks and losses as well. So even when the craft tools seem to work, they actually create invisible tasks, IP losses, unpredictable downtime, painstaking data and metadata corruption, leading to less productivity, less profitability, you can name it. So the current risks, for the risks and the losses, I just highlighted a few. These are not all, but I feel these are like the important ones, like security and IP risks. So the cracked software is probably using removes the vendor protections and formal traceability. There is no support, have issues, you're on your own, right? Bugs and all of that, you have to figure it out yourself. And you also have cases of incompatible files, right? So especially when you're working across teams that are using solutions from different vendors, right? And so you now have to do a lot of movement of files and data from one department, one team to the other. And then while all of this is taking place, we are losing some form of information. And then at the end of the day, it's more like a case of we design something and then we got something else out, right? So another very critical risk that crafty UI is undertaking is the legal reputation, right? So there are consequences for going this route, right? And you don't want a situation where you get to invest a lot of your time, resources, in trying to get yourself out of a situation that could have been avoided in the first place. And then lastly, but not the least, is the hidden cost. All those time you have to use for reworking, recreating files that are lost, downtime, because they definitely rely on downtime with the use of solutions like that, right? So now I'm just going to quickly move on to a wiser approach, right? So what Craftsy UI is supposed to do, a more profitable approach would be addressing the license compliance issue to avoid any form of operational risk. Also transitioning to legitimate softwares to ensure access to updates, right? When we have these updates and a couple of fixes that have been done from the owners of the tool, in this case data systems, you get to also take part in those updates, and of course you receive support, and then implement best practices for software management and compliance within his team. I know the KPI will also this time around be reduce cases of compliance issues, improve software reliability, right? It's just saying doing the right thing at the right time, the right way, right? So even when you run into trouble, you're not moved, right? Because there definitely will be a fix for it. We have people who are already ready, just waiting for you to come in and say, I have this challenge, and then they take it up from there and then get to solve those issues for you, right? And then for the business goals, will also be ensure that there is a legal compliance for the use of most of these solutions within the team, right? So one thing I also didn't almost forgot mentioning was that Craftsy UI gets to miss out on a couple of contracts. So while he's thinking he's playing smart, he's also losing a lot of money, right? Because there are certain networks, certain resources that he will not be able to tap into because of inability to produce maybe a certificate of genuine license when you're probably proposing to get a particular job, project, and all of that. All right, so thank you so much. I am truly grateful to be a part of your journey. Together we will elevate your business decisions to new heights, and also ensure that there is success and innovation within your team, within the organization, and in West Africa at large. So I will be passing the mic back to my colleague James. So over to you, James.
Thank you, Mr. Ofonime. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. So we'll now move into the short, quick Q&A session for Mr. Ofonime here. We received some questions from the audience. I'll read one out to you right now. It says, is the Innovia application majorly for project management? Because I remember you showed it in the beginning, the platforms that are available on 2D Experience Works. So is Innovia just for project management?
Okay, thank you so much, James. So just like I said, a little bit of background there. Innovia is part of data systems, brand, product, right? So it gives you access to a different kind of technology, and this is basically, we're talking about the PLM. We're also talking about products and data management. So I think a quick response to that would be yes, but definitely it is not only all about that, right? There are so many other things that we get to do by leveraging the technology of Innovia via the 3D Experience platform. So I hope I was able to answer that question well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ofonime. Thank you so much, Chukwemeka, for handling the question section for Mr. Ofonime. Thank you so much for this deep dive. This is a very detailed presentation. We appreciate this, the time taken. We appreciate all our speakers. We appreciate our responders. We appreciate all of the participants. Now, from design engineering to governance, collaboration, marketing, manufacturing. The case studies you shared clearly demonstrate how these solutions have delivered real value to companies beyond West Africa. And your perspective on connecting people with data, giving access to design tools, it was really eye-opening. It's evidence that 3D Experience SolidWorks could be a game changer for advancing design and manufacturing in our region. Now, I am aware that we already have questions coming in, which we appreciate. And if you notice that your question has not been mentioned yet and you have not received attention, please note that we will conduct a dedicated question and answer session for all questions that have not been treated later on in this workshop, where we will ensure that all questions are thoroughly covered. So to access the question and answer session, that section. So please, if you are joining with your PC, that's your laptop or your system, please, on the top of your screen towards the right, you will see a button having 3 dots. So click on that, then you'll be directed to the question and answer section. So there you can drop your question. Also, if you're joining on your mobile device, tap the button having 3 dots. Then scroll down, then you will see the question and answer button. You can drop your questions there. So if your questions have not been answered yet, we will treat all of your questions during the dedicated session for question and answer. Also, I encourage everyone to take part in personalized consultations with our speakers by reaching out through our contact. We are going to display that contact on your screen now. Please reach out if you want personalized consultations. If you have questions, you have concerns that have not been treated, please reach out to us through those contacts displayed on your screen. So moving on, it is my pleasure, everyone, it's my pleasure to introduce our second presenter. He serves as Industry Process Consultant Specialist for customer role experience across Afri-English and Euro-West for 3D Experience Works at Dassault Systems. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jaco Jansen van Rensburg.
Just allow me to share my screen and cancel my camera just for presentation purposes. Thank you, guys. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of your session for today. And we're going to have a brief look of one of our product portfolios, which is the simulation. So simulation is part of the SolidWorks portfolio. As William and his team already mentioned, that SolidWorks has a very broad portfolio. And we want to have a briefly look of what is the simulation portfolio covers, how can it contribute you guys or your company in design validation. So for SolidWorks, please think about your company, the challenges that you're facing. How do you know if you're designing correctly? Are you on the right track? Obviously, efforts, but are you 100% sure that the product or the parts that you are developing, you're on the right track? Is it what I need? Is it manufacturable? So let's have a look of what simulation can benefit to you. So if you look at the graph on the screen, there's a lot of back and forth between design processes and the review process. So instead of just having a bird's eye view of what I can expect from my design, instead of having a very curved changes between design iterations, design that failed, designs that doesn't fit into a specific area, or designs that purely just is not cost effective because of the weight or transportation purposes. So I want to do design development and design validation. So what this allows me to do then is to take my part through the digital prototyping work cycle and validate my design before I even start manufacturing these parts or components. So in a nutshell, yes, if I have specific designs, I can simulate how this design will behave in a real work time environment. So if I put a specific pressure on a part, how will it deforms? If I put it in a specific environment, how will it behave? So again, we have different types of options of simulating or validating a product. And we're going to touch base on a few of that design validations and to show you guys how you guys can benefit from something like this. So instead of having a more uninformed design criteria decision, I want to have a more oscillated, more linear design process where I can work through different type of iterations in my design process to be able to make sure that it's form and fit for my factory, it's form and fit for my design, it's cost effective, and it will last, because in the end, we all want to have put decent products out in the market that lasts, make our company profitable as well, and delivering a good product to our customers. So for the design validation, it's pretty much to improve the product complexity. So I want to shorten my design process. So right off from the beginning, if I have a new product or a new model that I want to design, I can very early in my design stages put it through my simulation and see, is this the right product for the type of environment? Early problem detection. So will it clash somewhere? Is the design going to fail under certain conditions? Is it manufacturable? So sometimes it's easy to design and model something, but it's not always easy to manufacture it or repair. So if I manufactured or designed a complex part or a complex assembly, so it's easy to assemble, but once it has to repair, maybe on the field or in a remote area, on a mine or somewhere, it's very difficult always to dismantle. So I also want to design for repairability. So the SolidWorks portfolio gives us a lot of opportunities when it comes to design validation with the use of the simulation suite softwares. As you can see, we can go right from fatigue, motion, drop tests. I can do heat simulations, flow simulations, which you don't see part of this screen. There's other flow simulations which allows me to simulate the flow of material, the flow of plastic in the injection mold, and the flow of heat transfers, the flow of fluids. Which is also part of the simulation portfolio, but it's not part of this presentation. So for the likes of today's presentation, I would like to focusing on some of the topics on simulation standard. So if you have SolidWorks Premium, this is included in your SolidWorks user license, so you already have access to this in the portfolio. But why? What do we want to achieve with basic standard simulation? So for me, as a designer, I'm just doing in a production environment. So I just want to do 4 simple things. Is my product strong enough? How long will my product last once I've manufactured this? What about the mechanisms? How will it fit? How will it feature? And which will be the best design for aesthetics, because in today's age as well, it's not just a product that works, but it has to look good, it has to feel good, it has to fit. So we have to stay trendy to the market as well. So for the likes of that, I'm going to show you guys 4 different topics that we're going to look at, which is part of the SolidWorks Standards portfolio. So let's look at a normal linear static analysis. So it's a simple scenario. I want to add a load. I want to create a fixture to this, and I want to create a fixture to a hinge. So I just want to see how this part will perform if I put specific stresses and loads to it. So let's start creating a static study. The material information is mapped automatically from the SolidWorks part. And then in this case, it's then material is titanium. So I'll simply apply a hinge restraint to the cylindrical hole and select the geometry on the screen and select OK. Now we will apply a fixed restraint to the bolt holes that hold the connection rod into its place. We will then apply a load on the top cylindrical face. We simply select the face and then the direction of the load. I will select the preference plane in SolidWorks, and a flyout tree will give me the options. I will just select normal settings and put on the load to enter. If I want my directions to be reversed, I can just say reverse direction, and you can see with the shows of arrows, I can reverse the pressure direction as well. We will simply run the analysis, and the first part runs the simulation in a few seconds. So after my simulation is complete, the key results like stress, displacement, strains, factor of safety can be visualized to make some key informative decisions. We are interested in the strength of this design. So in this case, the factor of safety shows at 9. This clearly means that the part is over-designed and present the opportunity to remove some of the material without compromising the product strength. I just want to rerun that simulation quickly. And as explained before, as you can see, my safety of factor is 9. Again, like I said before, it's over-designed, so I want to try different designs to see how can I get this part in a more lucrative environment, and how can I reduce the weight of this part, but even make it a bit more stronger. So I'm just going to play around with the different design settings and then work from there. So what have I achieved through this linear aesthetic design? I can do a quick evaluation of the strength of my part. I can have a visual part deformation, so I can see how whether this part will deform or react under specific stresses, and I can get direct access to my design changes. But let's have a look. If I want to use different types of designs, I can use design tracker, trend tracker. So trend tracker allows me to pretty much sensors what the SolidWorks feature trees are, automatically create default results along with their corresponding values. So I will just add different designs, and the sensors gets added automatically. So now I just add some, say what type of factors are relevant for me, and as you can see, my safety factor is still at 9. So as we perform freeform design changes, Trend Tracker automatically does all the book ticking in terms of saving results like weight, stress, displacement, and the factor of safety. So first, what we want to do is reduce the thickness to make it lighter, and then rerun the static analysis. There's nothing else for now, so the Trend Tracker is taking care of all the results behind the scenes, and it looks like the results reduce the factor of safety is quite large, but I got a total weight reduction of 15%. So let's continue with changing then the design. So instead of just reducing that, I want to do a cutout and see if I run that cutout, if I remove that material and I would run my simulation, how would this part then behave again? I would like now to understand what the impact of the cutout has done to my design. And now we can see we have a 40% weight reduction, and my factor of safety is still at 4.4%, which is fairly good. So again, a good iteration to my design. But let's try a third option. I want to, instead of doing a complete through cutout, I'm just going to add some material in the middle as well. So instead of having a complete cutout, I've put it in a rib in the middle. And again, as previously, I can just run my simulation. Now I have a 35% weight reduction, but my safety of factor is actually at 6%, at 6, where I really wanted it to be approved. So I'm happy with this design. So then one of the nice parts of the trend tracker, it allows me to pull the graphs, to pull all the reports, all the statics on my 3 different designs. It also allows me to view the gallery between the different iterations. So if I would go view gallery, I can then flip between all my iterations and see what the reports and the outcome was for these designs, which is a really good feature for me because I use this a lot when I want to see, will my model work and will it work? Will it fail in my need? So for my results, for my outcome, I've decided that design number 3 will be performing the best at this stage. So what this design trend allows me to do? It allows me to decide which design will perform the best under what circumstances. It tracks my performance matrix, so I can pull reports, I can build it into my approval statistics, and I can keep record of the design iterations as well. Another part I want to touch on is fatigue analysis. So fatigue is between 50 and 90% time the common cause of all failures in different designs. So for this example, the requirements was simple. I want to create a specific pedal from 6061 TC forged aluminium. And the design challenge was as following. Let's say, for instance, I want to put this load on a full hard pressure from a human man on the pedal of 300 pounds. And I want this to be at least to last 25,000 miles or roughly 7 million load cycles. I would use the same methodology. I would go through my design iterations, run the simulation, and try the different designs that I need. So on design 1, I can see, okay, the weight is not bad, material deflection is not bad, but only got to about 600,000 cycles, which is not nearly enough for what I need. On design 2, the weight is slightly higher, but I'm almost at 4 times more cycles than I need at 34,500 cycles. So for me, this is good news. With little iterations, I've outperformed the designs I needed. And on design 3, I can see it's even heavier, but it fails miserably to my needs. So with 3 different design iterations, I can have that look and feel and say, okay, this is the design I need. and this is the design I will go for. So again, easily estimates the component's lifespan, identify risk areas prone to failure, and it reduces costly redesigns, as previously mentioned. The last point I want to show you guys today is the motion analysis, and it pretty much just show I can use motion studies to determine actual factors, forces on a specific area. So I want to do three tests on this actuator seat. Is the gravity test, how will my actuator act on this, and the external force by in the means of the weight of a patient. So I'm going to create a basic study on this. So when I do motion studies, I can pretty much apply any study, a motor study, springs, dampers, force, contacts, gravity, and then I can plot that result. So for me, the plotting of the results is fairly important to see if I do design changes, how will it behave. So I'm just going to add a linear force to this motor in the form of a piston and apply that forces to that. I want to reduce that to 0.05 on the frequency, and I will just activate it. Usually I rename as a method of my studies. I rename my studies so I know which one works where, and for me to track them, and pretty much I can then run the simulation. Basic simple simulation, but now I can pull that graph and see what is my displacements, what is my forces, and I can have that as a heads-up display. As you can see, I can then save these plots off to a different file format for record purposes as well. Again, I just want to rename this to keep track of my changes. So my first result is not looking bad. I'm happy with the outcome of that. But let's see if I do a design change or two, adding a motor force and changing some of the travel distances of this. So I'm just going to change on that actuator. So I've pulled another graph report on here just to show you guys the differences if I have a motor force or a linear accelerator force. And you can see that the graph pretty much shows very similar results. So now what I want to do is I want to make another study, but instead of having the scissor length at 0.5, I want to have that scissor length at 0.3, just to see what the outcome would be if I make that a bit shorter. And if I would apply the weight of a human being on this seat, what will my outcome be, and what will my results be driven from that? So as you can see, just by changing that scissor length, how my graph has changed in the time the chair used to travel. And now I'm going to add that force I was telling you guys about. So let's use about 1,500 newtons for that load. Right, let's run the study. You can see that the results pattern is fairly the same, but because the plots update automatic, after running the simulation, make it very easy to see the effect of these changes. So adding the extra 4 shows up additional motor plot requirements. So what was the outcome? If we look at the comparison between the scissor lengths itself, I can see that just by reducing the scissor length by 0.2 millimeters, I can have more than double the force on that stroke allowed on this seat. So it shows my simulation in a real work environment. It detects collisions or failures or on a very early stage, and I can optimize my mechanism performance and travel distances. Thank you guys for that brief look into SolidWorks simulation. Please leave your questions in the comments, and then back to you guys, Mary and James.
Thank you, everyone, for your contributions so far. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us. Thank you, Chukwemeka, for responding. Well, that concludes our final presentation for today's workshop. We trust that you have gained valuable insights. And identified opportunities where the 3D Experience platform can drive impacts in your business. Before we move ahead, if you have need of personalized consultations, please reach out to us on the contacts displayed on your screen. We are available to respond to you with prompt responses. Thank you so much. Next,
Okay. Thank you all for your time and engagement today. We appreciate your commitment to exploring new ways to innovate and grow. We look forward to continuing this conversation and supporting your business with the 3D Experience platform.
Thank you so much, Chukwemeka. Thank you, everyone. The session we have had today has been engaging, has been insightful. On behalf of the entire Generative CAD team, on behalf of the organizers, we express our profound appreciation to our speakers, our partner representatives, and every participant who made this workshop a success. Let's keep driving progress together. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.